terms of contributing to society. And so I'd just like to share with you, and I'll leave this with the family, just a brief paragraph from a resolution that we made. Whereas Dr. Micheal Anthony Reddix, physical presence and infectious smile may no longer grace our lives, his enduring spirit will continue to inspire and uplift us. May his memory be a blessing, and may he carry forth his legacy of love and compassion in all that we do, and his light will forever shine brightly in our hearts. Thank you.
All right, Senator Horn, Mississippi Senate, to give him an opportunity to. He's running for mayor, so be careful. Keep it short.
Real short. Was not able to get back to change clothes because I had 21 clothes running after me before I got over here. But, you know, Michael Reddix was a gentleman. And I mean, he was a gentleman, but he was a gentleman. He never let his accolades, his accomplishments get in the way of his being a human being. I recall when I first met Michael, I knew of him, but I first met him, we were going down West Street. I was in a little blue Volvo, and Michael had a fast car. And we were going down West Street, headed down to the Holiday Inn downtown. And we got to a certain part of the road, and Michael was supposed to get ahead of me, I'd get ahead of him, he'd get ahead of me. And at the last minute, that curve around Wright Ferguson Funeral Home, I took it. And we got into the Holiday Inn, and he said, I've never seen anybody drive a Volvo the way you were just driving. And I said, Mike, I knew the curves. That sports car you got, you know, might have been faster than mine, but I knew the terrain. He was a great guy. He was a really wonderful person. And he never met a stranger. He never let his station in life make folks feel beneath him. He always was in the business of lifting others up. And for that reason, I think he was a very, very special person. So, Ms. Dorothy, we have a proclamation from the Mississippi Senate that I would like to present to you. It is from the Lieutenant Governor. The Lieutenant Governor of the state of Mississippi, C. Delbert Hoseman Jr., Senator John Horn, Senator David Blunt, Senator Derek Simmons, Senator Solly Norwood, and Senator Hillman Frazier commend the life, legacy, and contributions of Michael Anthony Reddix. Indeed.
I had to go wrestle the mic away from the politician. But I'm going to invite another politician up, Robert Johnson, minority leader in the Mississippi House of Representatives, to say a few words.
Thank you. I was a little offended because I always thought Carl and Mike was my brothers, because Carl and I are the same age, and Mike, I'm not offended, that's Carl. But you know, Carl and I are a lot alike. You know, Carl is loud, I'm loud. Carl is arrogant, I'm arrogant. You know, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I know. But when I got to know him, Mike was my doctor. He's the only doctor I've had as an adult. And I remember being around Michael, and it has taken me 30 years to learn how to be humble, but I learned that from Mike. Mike was a powerful person, he was a giving person, he was a caring person. But he was not showy, he didn't have to yell, he didn't have to do a whole lot. He just took care of people. And we're gonna miss him, you know, we're gonna miss on our golf trips, he was the man to make sure everybody had a jacket at dinner. You know, the things that mattered, he understood. And that's the way he practiced medicine. That's the way he took care of people. And that's the way he loved his brother. I watched them together, and it was beautiful to see. And we're gonna miss him. Thank you.
I'm trying to figure out who next. And so I'm gonna go with John Hill. Uh-oh, my wife says she's got. Y'all hit for it now.
You know, I would be remiss if I didn't pay a tribute to Dr. Michael Anthony Reddix, my brother, colleague, and friend. And a lot of you have already hit on the nail on the head. Our lives were so I know Ms. Beverly was really deferred to that, but back to difference, but I've known Michael since I was 16 years old. I first met Michael at the hall grounds of the Hagen House at 2 College. And that's where our life relationship began in 1975. We were a true pair of brother and sister throughout his life. We had our differences at times, but it would all come back to the good of God's will. He would be there for me, and I would try to be there for him. I feel that we were made of the same cloth. Our roots were connected. He was born in Meridian, Mississippi, and so was I.
It's getting long.
Okay. We trained with the same undergraduate professors. We went to the same medical school. We worked for over 33 years together in Reddix Medical Group. I always wanted Michael to recover, and he wanted to recover. After his first treatment in MD Anderson, his mother said, Michael got in the car and was speeding back to Jackson to recover his same lifestyle. I learned that Michael was deeply loved by his staff. Our staff loved him, and they have been close to him and his patients. And when we learned of his illness, we forged together to make sure that we would keep our bond together and moving and continue the exemplary care that he rendered over 33 years. I'm not
I gotta live with this stuff. Give me all the flaws in the end.
He would receive treatment and be back in the office seeing and taking the best care of his patients or on the golf course. He would even see his patients on a scooter at one point in the office, and COVID did not scare him away. What I just found out recently, in following up with his patients, as we have, Michael knew them as people, and I think somebody commented on it, and human beings. He knew their health issues, and he knew what they needed. He never left a stone unturned. I thought my patients were the best, but these are just as sweet and nice, and nothing but good things to say about Michael. They said he treated them for more than 30 years. And just going over Michael's notes, I could pick up from the details about the patients, and we could carry on. And I could see where he was going, and he had taken excellent care of him. We don't know if it was because we were taught and trained the same way, but I've already gone to bond with many of his patients. They are so sweet and kind. Some say, you remind me of Dr. Reddix. You seem to care. He cares. He cared about his patients and other people too, his family and his friends. I was even sad to feel that he may go on disability and not return to And that was my mindset. But my heart truly ached deeply when as a parent that it would be more profound than just that. I guess he said, if I can't see my patients play golf, attend church, see my family, attend board meetings physically, I will be with you in spirit. And I can accept that with that. Also, I felt discouraged. I never questioned God because God never fails. But I thought, all this time, during his illness, he had been taking care of people with his practice of medicine. But medicine failed him. But God's wisdom, love, and mercy surpasses all our understanding. We don't know why things happen and we are not meant to know. God knows best. And to you, Michael, I say, my brother, friend, colleague, you have earned your grace with dignity, integrity, and compassion. May God keep you in his perpetual care. Godspeed in your eternal life, my brother, Dr. Michael Anthony.
Michael's also a board member at First Choice, and John Hill, one of our golf buddies, my golf buddy in particular, we almost won the Shelby Cup, but he failed.
Okay, I wasn't expecting this, but anyway, I love Michael a whole lot. He was such a gentle person. I remember the first time I met Michael, we go on this golf trip together every year for 25 years down to Perdido, and I just got hired by First Choice, and my first job was to give Michael a ride to the golf course, you know, and so 2.5 hours after we left, he hadn't said a word. And then I met Carl, and he didn't shut up. So I was like, these guys are brothers? Really? No, but, so I actually asked Michael to serve on my board. We needed a primary care doctor.
Go ahead and say it.
We need somebody better than you. No, I'm joking, man. I love you to death. But anyway, so he served honorably on our board for years, and you could just tell there was just something about him that he just advocated so much for patients and for patient care. It wasn't about insurance. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about anything. But doing what was right for people, and I really admired that about Michael. And throughout this whole process with him getting sick, it just broke my heart just to see him. But one of the good moments was last year on our last golf trip that we had. Michael was able to come, and he definitely didn't feel good. And he definitely did not have the strength to be there. But Michael Reddix was there. He played every round. He played with us. He hung out with us. He had this God's strength to do everything that we did. And then I called Carl afterwards and said, I'm so glad he got to come. And he actually the next day went into the hospital to get hydration. That's just the determination he had to be with us guys. And I love him to death. And I'm honored to call him a friend and Carl a
Brother.
Yeah, something like that. No, Carl is my brother, and we got screwed out of the. We should have won, but some people cheat on their handicaps occasionally, and Carl and I don't do that. It's the white privilege. I don't know what that is, but shit, I know some of it. But anyway, thank y'all for letting me speak.
Dean to, you can't say his first name without saying his last name, so. Represent the brother.
You know, I'm gonna share a quick story with Michael. They call us the Ducks, and I got a couple.
You're a duck.
I got a couple great stories, and I'm the first one to say that I'm heartbroken because I just love the guy. In particular, I was in Las Vegas at a black tie function with Warren Bars and RG, and I fainted. I fainted at the bar. And I go to get some tap water. I said, man, I'm thirsty. And Michael was struggling himself. And who do I look when I'm on the ground and I'm all dressed up? I see Michael trying to help me up. And I'm floored by it because I know he's not golf. And I'm like, man, I have tapped out. This is it. The bionic boy is down. Carl Reddix is looking at me with his cowboy hat on and no cows. Okay? His eyes are all buffed out, and it's Michael who said, I'm the interpreter here. And he's just dehydrated. And it just, I can't begin to say how hard it hit me because I knew what he was struggling with. That's just one of the moments that I think of him. Always quiet, always respectful. This one here, like the guy just said before, never shuts up. So he's always got something to say. So we're golfing somewhere, and all of a sudden, Michael hits this ball. I call him Whale. He hits this ball, and it's Whale. And it goes towards Rick, and they both hit at the same time. Nobody says anything. It was just the love, just the moment, just the fellowship that we have shared in our travels. And I just wanted, I just can't say enough what's in my heart for the Reddix, because I changed my flight. It was 9 a.m. I changed, I said, I'm tired. I called Oxford. I said, I'm tired. I'm going to change my flight to 10:44. I thought it was a.m., but it was p.m. So I really wasn't due to be here. And all of a sudden, I went standby, and I made the flight, and I'm just overwhelmed with joy. All I can say is love and respect to the Reddix.
You brought the name up. This is a brother who's been David for decades, and all of a sudden, he got around.
You be damn right. All right, look, just jumping in the mic. I can go on with Mike for hours, but I won't do that. I'll just hit the high points. I met Mike 47 some odd years ago, and he was somebody I could idolize, somebody I could aspire to be like. It was all part of the new experience, and getting there, understanding somebody who's a role model, and trying to be like them, whether it's for crap or whatever. I love Mike. Right? And but we had a lot of crazy things that happened. We had a lot of people, and a lot of us were at the prior celebration, so I shared a lot of stuff there. But a couple of things I didn't share. Right? These Reddix boys some cheap guys. They introduced me to the fire sale. Trying to go there and buy clothes, it's so smoky, you have to get them dry clean twice before you just think about wearing it. But we did that. Boz bought up stereos. Mike loves stereos. In fact, most recently, had Carl driving all across Mississippi to try to buy Alabama. I mean, this is recent, to buy some stereo equipment, and but high-end stereo equipment. And but we shared that passion, Michael and I. We shared the passion there. We also shared another passion. I'm surprised that didn't come up yet. Mike liked to cook. He and I looked at cooking shows like it was No Tomorrow, and then tried it. And we did that a lot. I don't need to talk about golf, so I won't, But I'm gonna let it go there. If I need to come back, I will. But Mike, he was a trusted brother, a brother that his mom welcomed me into the fold, and my mom welcomed him into the fold, and Carl too, even though Carl had some flaws. We spent a lot of time at the Reddix's house, the Groom's house, with my dad, my mom. It was all good. And that's family, and that's what it's all about. We support each other every day.
Winding it down, but I'd be remiss without bringing up a couple of our family members. I'm going to ask James Griffin to represent my mother's half of the family, and I'm going to ask my cousin Rodney, wherever he is, to represent, there he is, to represent the Reddix.
Good evening, good evening.
He's a preacher, so be careful.
I'm Bishop James E. Griffin. I live here in Madison. But it is a pleasure to be here to celebrate his life, Michael's life, his legacy. And I represent the side of the family, which is my grandfather, which is Lewis Hopkins, which is also their grandmother's brother. And we're just glad to be here. I have my mother here, sitting over here next to Carl's mother, my sister, older sister, Dr. Demita Vines, and my sister, Sandra D. She walking around here somewhere. She's back there. She's back there. And so we just thank God. We all love her. And last time I saw Mike, we shared together in the hospital and things of the nature. And we're going to continue to remember his life and his legacy that he left behind. Thank you.
My other cousin is Bishop in our family. He ain't got no papers though.
So, my name is Rodney Reddix. Carl and Michael are my first cousins. Their father and my father was their father's youngest brother. And so, yes, a lot of people, even me, often comment on how much Carl and I look alike, which in Jackson probably is not a good idea. In other places, it may actually work out in my favor. But tonight, I just wanted to say how much we will miss Michael. He was a wonderful human being. We've heard that from a lot of different people. A lot of stories about his life, about what he meant to this community. My wife and I, my wife is over there, we live in Houston, Texas, and so every time for the last 10 years that Michael has been at Indiana, he came and shared a meal with us. We made it a priority to spend time with him, to help him along his journey, and he was our most frequent visitor ever for anybody of either one of our families. So we were blessed to always have him in our life. He and Carl, which you can't mention one without mentioning the other. When I was growing up, they meant, the epitome of excellence, from always excelling in school, always, becoming business owners, to, just living a life that we all admired. And together, they meant so much to our family. So we cannot mention one without the other. So we are committed to standing with Carl. We're on God with the rest of the family. We're all together here to share our love for Michael today and to continue to provide, family support, no matter what that means to the rest of our lives. So we love you.
Nita Brooks. The other half of Michael was Brooks. Okay? And I am Richard Brooks, and there were Dorothy, Irma, and Richard Brooks, Sr. And Michael was the oldest out of all of the first cousins from the three, and he was the oldest. And what do I mean by he was the oldest? He just always appeared to be the oldest to me because he was so mature. I never remember Michael as a kid. I always looked up to him as this mature person that you followed. He was very disciplined. He was just together. He was a tremendous role model. We were all, if you can believe, we were at Tougaloo College. There were 4 first cousins and one, where's Demita? There were 5 cousins at Tougaloo at one time. All right, right there. Okay, and so I was, Michael was the oldest, he was the role model for all of us, and for some of us, like me, we didn't follow the role model. Michael and I were completely opposite. He was quiet. I'm not like Carl, but I wasn't quiet. And I wasn't studying like I should, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, so
I graduated.
for the record, I did not graduate from Trinity. But I did graduate from Jackson State. But anyway, but Michael has been a tremendous role model. Later in life, Michael and I got closer and closer together. He invited me to the golf group, and I think somebody was speaking about skills. We won't speak about skills with golf. No, they didn't put me on a 5-year probation period. They got me out there right away. I sucked right away. So I was a donation, donation to the pot. But anyway, more importantly, as I think about the golf, and I've never missed a trip since the first time I was invited. And the reason why is because of Michael. Michael invited me, and he and I became closer and closer, roommates staying together. We became closer and closer in Torrey, and then Carl, and one of the favorite things was when all 4 of us got to play together. So the group would always make sure there was a Brooks, Reddix, Martin day when we all got to play together. So that was, I've done this with Michael for 5 years, and we got really close, and we shared some things we've never shared with each other before as grown men, and I still have those text messages. So, but the last thing I'll say about Michael, you guys have testified to his commitment to medicine, but he was a medical warrior. I think it was mentioned earlier that he was one of 8 persons with the situation that he dealt with, but he took a therapy, started with a therapy that was revolutionary. And when Michael mentioned it to me, I said, Michael, I support customers, pharmaceutical companies that actually do that exact therapy. So he and I started talking about it, but he was a medical warrior. I'm very proud of Michael, and I wish he was here so I could just tell him that I was proud of him. So one of those things you say, give people roses when they're alive. I wish I could have told him how proud I was. Eventually, I got it. I didn't get it at Chugalo, I didn't get it in other times, but Michael has been a role model, and I respect him, I love him, and rest in peace.
I want to do just a couple of, if you would indulge me, I would like, I know Candy tried that, but I ain't the guy. But I would like for 1 or 2 of his treating doctors to, because Michael, again, he fought, as Ricky said, for 10 years as a huge warrior. And I don't know, Todd or Sunday, one, come on, Todd. Sunday's acting like he's shy.
Well, I have to say, it was a privilege knowing Mike for all these years. We have been friends, Carl, Mike, I have been friends for a very long time. We got to meet each other on a golf trip. And I can say the first time I ever went on a golf trip, I never missed either. Okay? But, you think about people that you would trust your life with. And I think about Mike as being one of those people. This man right here would be one of those people as well. And as a physician, I got to see a lot of people that Mike took care of. And to a person, all the places that would come in, they would talk about Mike. They would talk about how Mike loved them and cared for them. And he was just a person who, when he loved his patients. He loved the people that he took care of. And they knew it. And so one of the great things about it was, we got to talk about Michael. And this week in the clinic, I cannot tell you, I've seen several patients who talk about Michael this week. They asked me if I knew, and I said I did. And they just talked about what a great physician he was and what a great guy he was. And he was. And, we're all going to miss him terribly. And that's true. That is true. And you know what? It's a blessing to be around people that are like that. They inspire us to do our very best every day and to take care of people. And that's, if I can say anything about him, that's what he did. He took care of people all the time. And I love him, and I'm gonna miss him. And, you know, he is well represented by his brother. He's a very good man. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Paul. It's hard to tell all the wonderful things about Mike. But one of the things I haven't really stressed out about is how loving he was to his family. He loved his girls so much. He would think of, he talk about them. I remember when he showed us pictures of the grandchild first time. We just, he had a boundless love. Mike would finish off and say, oh, I'm going to the lots. And then we'll be right back the next day. So he really cared about the mother, about the family. So his love for family was so boundless. I knew him both as a colleague in the hospital. The first time I came in 1998, it was one of the ones that made practicing medicine a lot easier for me. Always sending patients that needed issues with their kidneys or diabetes and all that. So we got close. And then suddenly I saw him. In those days, we used to have, when there was no EHR, we used to have to do computer stuff. we used to have 1 hour that you just go and hang out somewhere. And I found Mike at the practice somewhere on State Street. There was that place where you go and practice and hit balls. So for 1 hour, you just go out there and hit balls. And he looked at me and he said, what? You play golf? So I'm that guy, I don't know how to hack it. So he looked at my club and said, no, this is not how you play golf. Because I had one set that I had gotten from one of his pawn shops. The whole set was $50. So he gradually started me into golf. It's like he took me under his wings. I'll be in the office, or you just find Mike has left you a new wedge. This is the type of this we play with. Or even much later on, up to 2-3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, he came to me and said, oh, that's why you're missing your punch. You need to change your grip on your putter. And next thing you know, the next time you play, there's a grip sitting in my car. And Mike would say, you need to go get us to put it down for you. So he was such a selfless person. He cared about everybody else. And when it came to even carrying him part of his healthcare team, he was positive about what was going on. He had beaten the myeloma. There were some new medicines for maintenance that was beginning to give him the issue. And he fought a good fight with that also. And his faith was strong that this would be taken care of. But I know all at that times that in God's hand. Okay? So at the right time that he wants you to be with him in heaven, the Lord calls him home. And I believe very strongly that he is sitting at the bosom of our Lord Jesus right now and looking down on us. I just thank God for his life. His life was an example of how to be a loving person, a generous person, a selfless person, somebody who cares. I mean, everybody has talked about his patients. I was with one of his patients that we both shared a few days ago. They said, oh, you know what? Mike was a nice person. He was not just a doctor, he was a nice person. He listened to you, he addressed your issues. This guy was a great man, and I hope we can carry on that legacy. And I just pray the children also will carry on that legacy. You had a great father. And we just thank God for his life, and thank God for how much he helped me to become a better golfer. It was a long way because he would beat us up on the golf course on trees and all that. But eventually we caught up with him. Maybe because he lowered some of his own handicap so we could catch up with him. But at the end of the day, he was somebody who added value to your life. And I thank God for that. Thank you.
I got Candace and then Brian, and then we're going to shut it down.
Good evening, everyone. Carl and Michael are my cousins, and Dot is my grandmother's sister. And so I have a letter that my husband wanted me to read because when we lived here
here 11 years ago. We lived here 5 years ago for 11 years, and Carl and Michael embraced us and loved us and took care of us. And so my husband wrote a letter to Michael because he felt like although he gave Michael his flowers when he was alive, he still felt like he left a little bit out. Dear Michael, I never imagined writing you a letter like this, and here we are. I still remember the first time we met at your Aunt Irma's funeral in St. Louis in 2009. Who would have thought that that day would mark the beginning of a 16-year journey that would profoundly impact my life? You had a way of making everyone feel like family, even a young brother from Gary, Indiana. And you opened up a world I never knew I needed. Michael, you taught us the importance of family tradition and how it connects us to who we are and where we come from. The Reddix family, your family, didn't just teach us that, you showed us. Your example allowed us to dream bigger than our own exposure. I remember the first time Candace and I visited you in Jackson. We stayed with you in Annandale, and man, I was stunned. Seeing a successful Black family living like that in a home like yours was more than just shocking. It was motivation. For a kid from Gary, that was the kind of proof I needed to know what was possible. But I'll never forget that morning I somehow locked myself out of your house. Standing outside trying to figure out my next move. The neighbors gave me those curious looks. You know the ones. Luckily for me, they must have pieced together that I was family because nobody called the cops. Close call though. It's funny now, but I learned in that moment what it meant to be a part of a family that carried respect wherever they went. The Reddix name held weight. And to this day, I call that juice. Speaking of Jackson, one of the true highlights of our time there was the countless dinners we had together. Michael, your home-cooked meals were the best I ever had in the city. No offense to Carl, it wasn't just the taste, though every bite was a masterpiece. It was the love and attention to detail you poured into every bite. I'll never forget how you would write out the meal as if it were the blueprint for greatness. You were meticulous, thoughtful, and precise. A chef and a scientist in the kitchen. The meals we had from our Game of Thrones watch parties were legendary. You had us feeling like we were eating at Winterfell's minus the White Walkers. And you have to watch Game of Thrones to get that. And the Reddix name, I never hesitated to drop it in conversations with Jacksonians. Every time I mentioned y'all, they knew exactly who I was talking about. Are you talking about the choir brother or the other Reddix? Little did they know you weren't as quiet as they thought. When I came from you to advice, the kind of questions that make when I came to you for advice, you'd ask me the kind of questions that made me stop and think, really think. I see that same trait in Rachel. She has the same ability to dig deep and make people reflect. One piece of advice you gave me about parenthood has stuck with me. You told me I was too strict with the oldest and not strict enough with the youngest. So keep doing what you're doing. You're doing it right. Delivering reassurance and guidance in the same breath, nonchalantly. That's what made you special. And Michael, I have to tell you this story. On April 6, 2018, our twins were born, and you were the first to congratulate me. The only one there with me during the time. Unfortunately, Candace suffered seizures from eclampsia during the birth and almost died. When the young Dr. Keisha Bell came in to explain what happened, I was confused by the medical jargon. I told her without hesitation, look, you gotta talk to my cousin Michael. I walked into the room with the doctor and you were there, congratulating me with your calm, steady presence. But Michael, I was shook. You calmed me down and talked to the doctor. She didn't even ask who you were, but immediately addressed you as Dr. Reddix. She explained what was going on and you gave her insights. Your calmness calmed me. Carl was on sabbatical, but somehow Joy got in touch with him and he was pissed. Explicitives were flying through the phone from Carl. That's a story for another day. But Michael, you were the rock I needed in that moment. You always were. Michael, you've left behind more than memories. You've left a legacy in your family, your wisdom, and the countless lives you touched. I'll carry the lessons you taught me for the rest of my life. Thank you for being the quiet brother, the thoughtful brother, the motivated brother, and above all, my brother. Rest easy, Michael. You've earned it. With love and gratitude, Frida.
Brian Dawkins.
Hello, Brian Dawkins. So I'm Dr. Mike's neighbor, and I want to say thank everybody for coming because we all know Dr. Mike is the most civilized, mild-mannered, earnest individual. So when I pulled up and I saw so many cars, I just was like just elated to see how much support he got because that's how you gain traction in life by being like that, being approachable, being able to speak to and things like that. So just who I am, I'm Dr. Mike, mentee, employee. They gave me my first job in his name for 30 years. I went to college with his daughters. I actually had this golf club that I played with in California. So I just want to tell a joke, like I'm actually Dr. Michael Reddix also. People who play golf know you take your 56 degree or your pitching wedge to the fringe and then you chip and then you take your putter. So sometimes you leave your putter or you leave your wedge and you go to the next hole. So I had his clubs and they all labeled Dr. Michael Reddix. So I go to the next hole and I left my 56 and my 6 and I go back. So you see people coming, hey, Dr. Mike, you left your club. And so I was like, oh, thank you very much. So now the golf club I frequent it, everybody will say, hey, Dr. Mike, how you doing today? So I'm like, it is California, you can be anybody. So I just want to tell that from the joke, like I said, I went to college with his daughters and grew up in the neighborhood, and I'm like an honorary Reddix. So I just want to say, I just had to speak because I love it so much, and I'm his patient, my mother's his patient, father's patient, been there, known him my whole life. So I'm just glad to see everybody here, and I can't let the time pass without, giving a shout out to him because, it means everything to me like everybody else. So just want to say that.
The last speaker. But this is my brother from the other side of the track, so. Damn, everybody come out.
Carl has been an unbelievable advocate, as y'all know, for Mike that comes down the steps. He's been terrific brother. I wanted to say a few things. Just personal things, my personal interactions with Mike over the years. I think I met Mike Reddix playing golf with Carl many, many years ago. Before we played, we warmed up on the range, and I noticed that Mike had earbuds in his ear. The first thing I thought was, we don't want to talk to these white guys. But this wasn't true. He was listening to music, something that he and I shared and we enjoyed over the years. As Carl and I went up the fairway, cutting it up, and on the green, Michael was all business about his game. Standing upright during his swing, very compact, powerful swing. Mike had a very steady game.
You weren't powerful.
It's Mike. Some stat. All right. And that's how Mike lived his life. Very steady. As a father, as a doctor, as a friend, Mike was a steady guy. A guy you could always count on, a guy you always enjoyed his company. I rode with Mike to the beach a time or two for our golf trip. Carl would have been there, but he had an extended stay out of town. So bad. Mike and I talked about lots of times. His girls who he loved so much and he was so very proud of. We talked about sports, we talked about politics, and so on. I learned something in that car that day about Mike. That he was a really curious guy. With a quiet nature, he was interested in just about everything. Maybe it was a nerd in Mike, but I didn't get away with a yes or a no for any of his questions. And the answer I gave him, I got more questions. He really just wanted to know. He was just a curious guy. This last fall, Mike had to go to the Mayo Clinic. Went to the clinic up in Minnesota with his mama and his daughter Robin. They spent the night before they flew out with me at my place in St. Paul. I'm very grateful the time I got to spend with the three of them, especially with Michael. Mike that time was in super bad shape. He lost a bunch of weight and was in a lot of pain. The typical Michael form, he didn't want anybody fussing with him. He said, I'll be fine, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. And his quiet curiosity took over again. Mike wanted to know all about the area, about me growing up there, my family, my schooling, my brothers and sisters, our church. He just couldn't help it. He was just curious. And then I realized that Mike was not just curious himself, he was curious for me. He was curious for all of us, because that's the way he showed us that he loved us and he cared for us. I'm very sorry, extremely sorry to lose Mike Reddix, but I am so grateful that I was blessed to know him as my friend. So, let's raise the toast. Raise the toast for Michael Reddix.
We'll shut it down, and what I'd like for everybody to do is spend some time making sure that you get to know the service tomorrow is at Christ the King at 10:30. The service actually starts at 11, but there's the Knights of Peter Flavor are going to do their thing at 10:30. What we've done, first and foremost, what I haven't done is acknowledge that my daughters have really helped put all this together. The slideshow my daughters did, they've been wonderful support of me. I bought a bag for Michael, and B always put my name on my bag. And so I made sure that we had a bag for Michael, a bag for me, and one of the things that I've done tonight is make sure that you all sign his bag, and against my daughter's judgment, I put my bag out to be signed as well. So please sign the bag. We've got some bentos in the room on the right, on my right, far right. I encourage you to look at his cookbook and some mostly golf pictures. And last thing I'll say, we're gonna after everything is done tomorrow, about 5 o'clock, we're gonna be in my backyard cooking fish and chicken, frying fish and frying chicken, and drinking a lot. These guys are gonna. This guy's gonna drink a lot. That guy's gonna drink a lot, and we're gonna say a long goodbye again as we've done tonight. So thank you everybody for being here. This is a wonderful. Class 79. Gathered by the fireplace on the back wall. Just hand it to me. Thank you, everybody.
But you put it up there. Yeah. Sit down. Oh, thank you. It's in the business time. This time.
Please come to the center of the room for the hymn. Alpha by Alpha members, come to the front over here by Dr. Reddix. Brothers of Alpha by Alpha, please come over here by Dr. Reddix. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha, please come over here by Dr. Reddix. Brothers from Alpha Phi Alpha, please come over to the front door. Your attention. May I have your attention? Excuse me, everyone. May I have your attention, please? Silence. Everyone, silence, please. Silence. Will all the alphas come over here by Dr. Micheal Reddix, please? Come over by Dr. Carl Reddix. Silence, everyone, please. We need all alphas over here by Dr. Reddix. Come over by Dr. Reddix. Members of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, come over by Dr. Reddix. Excuse me, everyone. Please. 1, 2, 3.